Okie doke. Now we're going to take what we did yesterday and expand it into finding the triangle centers. So we need a triangle first. Grace, what do you want to call the triangle today?
Can I do animals?
You can do whatever you'd like.
Dog, cat,
Do-
fish.
So DCF.
Sure.
Awesome.
Why can't I do fish?
Oh, I thought you were going to do an FIS.
I was thinking of
All right, Grace, where would you like D to be?
-9, 9.
I like it. And let's see, Jack, where do you want C to be?
11, 2.
Uh-huh. And F is where, Morgan?
1, 1.
Okay. So let's see. Emily, big decision. Ortho center or circumcenter? Which one you want to do?
Circum.
Dealing the circumcenter today? Could you tell me what a circumcenter is?
It is
I'm listening to you. I'm just writing as you're talking.
center of the triangle. It connects some lines that go from the,
It does? Which lines?
they come from the vertices. The sides. The sides. It's equidistant from the sides.
It's equidistant from the vertices, but how do I find it? It is the POC of what?
Between the perpendicular bisectors.
Excellent. Okay, good. So, we're going to do circumcenter of this guy. I'm going to draw a triangle for reference. I have no idea if this triangle even looks like this. I don't really care. I just need it as a reference. All three of those perpendicular bisectors are going to intersect at the circumcenter. However, I don't need to find all three. I just need to find two. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, if all three intersect at the same point, if I just find two of them, I'm still going to find the point of intersection. So that makes our life a little bit easier. So picture-wise, I'm looking for something like this. That's the perpendicular bisector of that side. This is the perpendicular bisector of that side. And then this is the perpendicular bisector of that side. And this will give me, there's my circumcenter. Okay, Grace, since you started this mess, what do you want to call those points right there, just so we have a reference?
GCL.
You can't use C.
GAL.
GAL. Any particular reason you pick those?
GCL are my initials.
Ah, I understand. So you just threw an A in there because
It's the first lesson.
I understand. Okay. What do we need to do first? Well, we're going to use only two of the three, so we can pick whichever one we want to start with. We'll call the circumcenter X, just so we have a reference there. I want to start by finding the equation of, I don't know, let's do XL. So we'll go XL is the perpendicular bisector of FC. So we're going to look for the equation of XL. If XL is a perpendicular bisector, what do I need to find? Look.
The slope of FC,
Good?
then
Hold on, let's take it in stages. I don't want to create too much of a problem here. Okay, slope of FC. Whoops. FC, not FG. FC. Okay, so the slope of FC is, go ahead.
y is 2 minus 1 and 11 minus 1. 1 over 10.
1/10.
And the opposite is -10.
Okay, good. So then we want the opposite reciprocal because we need it to be perpendicular. Awesome. So therefore, the slope of the perpendicular would be -10.
Now you find the, wait, is that C or L?
That's an L.
Is L the midpoint of FC?
Is L the midpoint of FC?
Then we can find that using, what was that formula again?
Well, I don't know. So we want the midpoint of FC. Why do I keep writing a G? FC, which we're calling L. How do I find the midpoint?
x1 plus x2 divided by 2 y1 plus y2.
All right, give it to me.
1 plus 11 divided by 2, and 1 plus 2 divided by 2.
So L is located at 6,
6,
comma 3 halves. And leave it in fraction form, don't use decimals. Even if it's a nice decimal like 1.5, just leave it in fraction form. Okay, so I got a midpoint and I got a slope. Now what?
Now you could use that to make a equation.
Beautiful. And what would that equation be?
Y minus negative 3 over 2 equals x. My bad. And the slope negative 10. Parentheses x minus 6.
Well done. This is important, so I'm going to put a box around it. Actually, I'm going to put a rectangle around it. That's the equation of XL. Okay, which one do you want to do next? AX or XG? It doesn't matter. There's no wrong answer. Nicole, which one do you want? AX or XG?
AX.
AX. Okay, so now we're going to find the equation of AX. Using that exact same procedure, we're going to need to know the slope of DC, which is 9 minus 2 over negative 9 minus 11. 7 over negative 20. Whoa. Yikes. Therefore, we want the perpendicular of that guy, which would be 27s. This one's not going to work out so nice, kids. Okay, what do I do next? Go ahead.
Find the A, like, that's the midpoint of DC.
Yeah, so we're finding the midpoint of DC, which we're calling A. And that would be
Negative 9 plus 11.
negative 9 plus 11 over 2, comma.
9 plus 2 divided by 2.
So A would be at,
1.
comma, 11 halves. Oh boy. Okay, I got a slope. I got a point. So therefore my equation is y minus 11 halves equals 27ths times the quantity x minus 1. This is also important. So I'll put a bright green rectangle around it. Now, nothing new there. That's just what we did yesterday, except I did it twice. How can I use that stuff to find that point x? Rebecca.
You can put one of the equations into slope-intercept and then use substitution to solve the system and get the point of intersection.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to solve a system now. Gesundheit. Gesundheit. Okay, so you have these written down, right? Because I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay, so our system was then, give me those equations. Y minus, or y plus?
3 over 2
Y minus 3 over 2.
equals negative 10, x minus 6.
Thank you.
And then y minus 11 over 2
Oh boy.
equals 20 over 7, x minus 1.
I just threw up a little bit in my mouth. Okay, so Rebecca, you're suggesting we put one of those in the slope-intercept form and use substitution to put it into the other equation.
Yeah.
Awesome, love it. Which one do you want to solve in y-intercept form?
The top one.
Good call. I'm going to take this equation on top and convert it into slope-intercept. So y minus 3 halves is equal to negative 10x plus 60, which means that y is equal to negative 10x. Now, I'm too lazy to do that math, so help me out. Fire up your calculators and take 60 plus 3 halves and convert it back to a fraction. I mean, I could do it, I just don't want to show off. What is it? 123 over 2. All right. We're having fun now, right, Grace?
Yep.
Awesome. Now, Rebecca, now that I've done this, what am I doing with this puppy?
You plug it into the bottom equation.
Good. Take this and plug it in over there. Don't plug it back into the equation you just solved. You won't be happy with the results. So, negative 10x plus 123 halves minus 11 halves is equal to 20/7 times the quantity x minus 1. Is that solvable?
Yep.
How do you know?
There's only one variable.
There's only one variable.
Ew.
Ew. How does one go about solving that?
Get the variable inside.
Well,
Okay, that's
Okay.
Well, you have to do a lot of simplifying. So, do you want me to actually do it, or do you want me to tell you how to do it?
either one. I'm flexible like the reed in the wind.
Alright, so 123 halves minus 11 halves would be 112 halves. Which you can simplify down to
56.
6.
Things are looking up.
Then you have to distribute the 27s. Subtract 50. Subtract
Stop.
27.
Now you have a decision to make. At this point, you decide to take one of two paths. One path would be to just continue what he's saying and continue to work through the problem. The second path would be to get rid of the denominators. It's entirely up to you what method do you want to use. If you're not a big fan of fractions, then get rid of the denominators. How would I get rid of those denominators? Michael?
Multiply everything by 7.
Multiply everything by 7. The key here is to multiply everything by 7. Both sides of the equation. That gives me negative 70x plus 372?
92.
I was close. 392, just off a little bit, equals 20x minus 20. Well, that's pretty. No more fractions. I'm happy. All the x's to one side, all the stuff to the other side. I get negative 90x is equal to negative 412. Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Bring that up over here. Holy guacamole. X is 412 divided by 90, which I know can be simplified.
206 over 45.
Oh. Take that number and store it in X. Do you know how to do that?
Yep.
I've showed you that, right? On the left-hand side of your calculator, there's a button that says Stow. You have two options for the X button. You could use the letter X, which is above. May I for 1 second? I think I can really see this. It's above the Stow button, ironically enough. Or up at the top, there's a button below the mode button that says X, T, theta, and N. That's an automatic X button. So when you have 206/45 on your home screen, hit Store and then X and hit Enter. Nothing fancy happens, but it does now take that value and plug it in for X anytime you need it. Okay. And this is also going to keep your answer exact. If you take approximate answers, you're going to have a train wreck. Now I need to find Y. How?
Well, I just tried to do the other equation.
Which other equation? I got a whole bunch of equations on this
That
screen.
was not translated into slope-intercept. So it's y minus 11 halves equals 27 x minus 1.
Too much work. Right here.
Oh, okay.
Now the nice thing about this is since you have this number stored in X, all you need to type on your home screen is negative 10x plus parentheses 123 divided by 2 close parentheses. And then hit Enter.
Yeah, it's not a pretty.
Where's X?
Ew.
It's not a.
And then convert it back to a fraction. And we find that Y is equal to
283 over 18. We did it.
that is X. That we called the point X in the previous thing. So that's 206 over 45, comma 283 over 18.
Oh my
Good
gosh.
nice point.
That's the circumcenter.
Ew.
Okay.
Fun, right?
No.
Come on,
Let's do another one.
No.
let's not.
Yeah.
Let's suppose, let's go back to the other screen here.
Okay, you're good.
Let's suppose I use the same triangle and instead of a circumcenter, I wanted to find an orthocenter. How would I do that?
Oh.
We're not going to. You're going to. We're not going to. Paul?
Well, you should probably draw the altitudes.
Good idea, because an orthocenter is determined by the altitudes. So find two of the altitudes, find the point of intersection between the two altitudes, solve. The process is repeated regardless of which triangle center you're looking for. If you're looking for the median, if you're looking for the centroid, you need to know that that's medians. Find two of the equations of the lines of the medians, solve the system. If you're looking for orthocenter, find the two equations of two of the altitudes, solve the system. And you can see from that travesty, your answers will seldomly be pretty. But it's doable. That is the correct answer. Use your calculator as much as possible, especially when you're dealing with fractions. Hello, Mrs. David. Especially if you're not very good with fractions. Be careful when you get to this step. Some people want to then multiply this by 14, which is fine. Just be careful what you multiply by 14. I prefer to wait until you've distributed this thing so there's no parentheses before you multiply by a number. Okay, you'll see some situations where these won't have a common denominator here. If they don't have a common denominator, then just leave it until you distribute this, get down to this problem, or that step, and then multiply everything by the common denominator if you want to get rid of the fractions. I personally would highly recommend getting rid of fractions, but if you're a fraction person and you like to do them, then knock yourself out. Okay? You see how this becomes complicated. Not only do you have to be able to do some nasty algebra, but you also have to know the properties of each of these centers. You need to know that a centroid comes from the medians. Well, that's great, but what's a median? You need to know what a median is. Same thing is true with orthocenter and circumcenter. Okay? Now, we could do something fun, which would be, as Grace mentioned, going back to this picture, this circumcenter is the point equidistant from the endpoint, or from the vertices. So theoretically, if we did the distance formula 3 times, all of these should turn out to be the same distance. So in other words, if you found the distance between 1, 1 and that monster that we had as an answer, if you found the distance from 11, 2 and that other beast, and you found the distance from -9 to 9, they should all match this. They should all have the same value. Okay? Questions? I will post 2 things on Schoology in a second. One is the homework, day 6, and I will also post another summary sheet that builds on the other center summary sheet. It gives you some more information on how to go about this. Okay? You got to be able to do all 3, cold. Okay, by cold I mean with no notes to back you up. Quiz is on Friday, by the way.